The Three Stooges started in 1928 as part of a vaudeville act called Ted Healy and His Stooges, also known as Ted Healy and His Southern Gentlemen, Ted Healy and His Three Lost Souls, Ted Healy and His Racketeers, and Ted Healy and His Three Stooges. Mo Howard joined Healy's act in 1921, and his brother Shemp Howard came aboard in 1923. In 1928, violinist comedian Larry Fine and comedian Fred Sanborn also joined the group. In the act, lead comedian Healy would attempt to sing or tell jokes while his noisy assistants would keep interrupting him, causing Healy to retaliate with verbal and physical abuse. In 1930, Ted Healy and his Stooges appeared in their first feature film, Soup to Nuts, filmed by Fox Film Corporation. The film was not a critical success, but the Stooges' performances were singled out as memorable, leading Fox to offer the trio contract minus Healy. This enraged Healy, who told studio executives that the Stooges were his employees and the offer was withdrawn. Howard, Fine, and Howard learned of the offer and subsequent withdrawal and left Healy to form their own act, which quickly took off with a tour of the theater circuit. Healy attempted to stop the new act with legal action, claiming that they were using his copyrighted material. There are accounts of Healy threatening to bomb theaters if Howard, Fine, and Howard ever performed there, which worried Shemp so much that he almost left the act. Reportedly, only a pay raise kept him on board. Healy tried to save his act by hiring replacement Stooges, but they were inexperienced and not as well received as their predecessors. Healy reached a new agreement with his former Stooges in 1932, with Mo now acting as business manager, and they were booked in a production of Jacob J. Schubert's The Passing Show of 1932. During rehearsals, Healy received a more lucrative offer and found a loophole in his contract, allowing him to leave the production. Shemp, fed up with Healy's abrasiveness, decided to quit the act and toured in his own comedy revue for several months, and then landed at Vodafone Studios in May 1933, appearing in movie comedies produced in Brooklyn, New York for the next 4 years. With Shemp gone, Healy and the two remaining Stooges needed a replacement, so Mo suggested his younger brother, Jerry Howard. Healy reportedly took one look at Jerry, who had long chestnut red locks and a handlebar mustache, and remarked that he did not look like he was funny. Jerry left the room and returned a few moments later with his head shaved, and then quipped, "Boy, do I look girly." Healy heard Curly, and the name stuck. In 1933, MGM signed Healy and his Stooges to a movie contract. They appeared in feature films and short subjects, either together, individually, or with various combinations of actors. The trio was featured in a series of musical comedy shorts, beginning with Nursery Rhymes. The short was one of the few shorts to be made with the early two-strip Technicolor process, including one featuring Curly without Healy or the other Stooges, Roast Beef, and Movies. The short themselves were built around recycled film footage of production numbers cut from MGM musicals such as Children of Pleasure, Lord Byron of Broadway, and the unfinished March of Time, which had been filmed in early Technicolor. Soon additional shorts followed, including Beer and Pretzels, Plain Nuts, Jailbirds of Paradise, and The Big Idea. Healy and company also appeared in several MGM feature films such as comic relief, such as Turn Back the Clock, Meet the Baron, Dancing Lady, with Joan Crawford, Clark Gable, Fred Astaire, and Robert Benchley, Fugitive Lovers, and Hollywood Party. Healy and the Stooges also appeared together in Mert and Marge for Universal Pictures. In 1934, the team's contract expired with MGM, and the Stooges parted professional company with Healy. According to Mo Howard's autobiography, the Stooges split with Healy in 1934 once and for all because of Healy's alcoholism and abrasiveness. Their final film with Ted Healy was MGM's Hollywood Party in 1934. Both Healy and the Stooges went on to separate successes, with Healy dying under mysterious circumstances in 1937. In 1934, the trio, now officially named the Three Stooges, signed on to appear in two real comedy short subjects for Columbia Pictures. Mo wrote in his autobiography that they each received $600 per week on a one-year contract with a renewable option. In the Ted Okuda Edward Waltz book, The Columbia Comedy Shorts, the Stooges are said to have received $1,000, among them for their first Columbia effort, Woman Haters, and then signed a term contract for $7,500 per film to be divided among the trio. Within their first year at Columbia, the Stooges became wildly popular. Realizing this, Columbia Pictures president Harry Cohn used the Stooges as leverage, as the demand for their films was so great that he eventually refused to supply exhibitors with the trio shorts unless they also agreed to book some of the studio's mediocre B movies. Cohn also saw to it that the Stooges remained ignorant of their popularity. During their 23 years at Columbia, the Stooges were never completely aware of their amazing power at the box office. Their contracts with the studio included an open option that had to be renewed yearly, and Cohn would tell the boys that the short subjects were in decline, which was not a complete fabrication. The Stooges thought that their days were numbered and would cruelly sway it out each year, with Cohn renewing their contract at the 11th hour. This deception kept the insecure Stooges unaware of their true value, resulting in them having second thoughts about asking for a better contract without a yearly option. Cohn's scare tactics worked for all 23 years that the Stooges were at Columbia. The team never once asked for a salary increase, nor were they ever given one. It was not until after they stopped making the shorts in December 1957 that Moe learned of Cohn's underhanded tactics, what a valuable commodity the Stooges had been for the alien studio, and how many millions more the acts could have earned. The Columbia offered theater owners an entire program of two reel comedies featuring such stars such as Buster Keaton, Andy Clyde, Charlie Chase, and Hugh Hubert, but the Stooge shorts were the most popular of all. The Stooges were required to release up to 8 short films per year within a 40-week period. For the remaining 12 or so weeks, they were free to pursue other employment, time which was either spent with their families or touring the country to promote their live act. The Stooges appeared in 190 film shorts and 5 features while at Columbia, outlasting every one of their contemporaries employed in the short film genre. Del Lord directed more than 3 dozen Stooge films, Jules White directed dozens more, and his brother Jack White directed several under his fake name Preston Black. Silent film star Charlie Chase also shared directorial responsibilities with Lord and White. The Stooges films made between 1935 and 1941 capture the team at their peak, according to film historians Ted Okuda and Edward Watts, authors of the Columbia comedy shorts. Nearly every film produced became a classic in its own right. 1935's Holy Polio adapted the premise of Pygmalion, with the stuffy professor making a bet that he can transform the uncultured trio into refined gentlemen. The plotline worked so well that it was reused twice as Half-Wits Holiday and Pies and Guys. Three Little Beers featured the team employed at a brewery who then run amok on a local golf course to win prize money. 1936, Disorder in the Court features the team as star witnesses in a murder trial. 1938, Violent is the Word for Curly was a quality Chase-directed short that featured the musical interlude Swinging the Alphabet. In the 1940 film A Plumbing We Will Go, one of the team's quintessential comedies, the Stooges are cast as plumbers who nearly destroy a society's mansion, causing water to exit every appliance in the home. Other entries of the era are considered among the team's finest work include Uncivil Warriors, A Pain in the Pullman, False Alarms, Grips, Grunts, and Groans, The Sitter-Downers, Dizzy Doctors, Tassels in the Air, We Want Our Mummy, Nutty But Nice, An Ache in Every Steak, and In the Sweet Pie and Pie. With the onset of World War II, the Stooges released several entries that poked fun at their rising Axis powers. You Nasty Spy and its sequel, I'll Never Heal Again, burlesqued Hitler and the Nazis at a time when America was still neutral and resultantly isolationist. Moe is cast as Moe Hailstone, an Adolf Hitler-like character, with Curly playing a Hermann Göring character, and Larry, a Joachim von Ribbentrop type ambassador. The film is revered by Stooge fans as well as the Stooges themselves. Moe, Larry, and director Jules White considered You Nasty Spy their best film. These efforts indulged in a deliberately formless, non-sequitur style of verbal humor that was not the Stooges' forte, according to Okuda and Watts. Other wartime entries have their moments, such as They Stooge to Conga, Higher Than a Kite, Back from the Front, Gents Without Sense, and the controversial The Yoke's on Me. However, taken in bulk, the wartime films are decidedly substandard. No Doughboys is often considered the best of these farces. The team, made up as Japanese soldiers for a photo shoot, is mistaken for Union saboteurs by Nazi ringleader Vernon Dent. The highlight of the film features the Stooges engaging in nonsensical gymnastics for a typical group of enemy agents. The World War II era also brought on rising production costs that resulted in a reduced number of elaborate gags and outdoor sequences. Del Lord stock and trade that, as such, the quality of the team's films began to slip after 1942. According to Okuda and Watts, entries such as Local Boy Makes Good, What's the Matador, Saka Bye Baby, I Can Hardly Wait, and A Gem of a Gem are considered to be less quality work than previous efforts, and in a different class than their early films. The 1943 film Spook Louder, a remake of Max Sennett's The Great Pie Mystery, is often cited as their worst film. The story of a phantom pie thrower is repetitious and relying on the same jokes, which many Stooge fans consider to be far less humorous than their past work. Three Marked Stabs, a film considered to be an improvement, features a reworking of a routine from Harold Lloyd's The Freshman, in which Curly loosely basted suit begins to come apart as it seems while he's on the dance floor. The Stooges made occasional guest appearances in future films, though generally they were restricted to their short subjects. Most of the Stooges' peers had either made the transition from shorts to feature films, Laurel and Hardy, the Ritz brothers, or had been starring their own feature films from the onset, the Marx Brothers, Abbott and Costello. However, Moe believed that the team's firebrand style of humor worked in a short form. In 1935, Columbia proposed to star them in their own feature-length film, but Moe rejected the idea, saying, "It's a hard job inventing, rewriting, or stealing gags for our two-reel comedies for Columbia Pictures without having to make a seven-reeler. We can make short films out of material need for a starring feature, and then we wouldn't know whether it'd be funny enough to click." Film critics and Stooge fans alike have often cited Curly as the most popular member of the team. His childlike mannerisms and natural comedy charm made him a hit with audiences, particularly children and women. The fact that Curly had to shave his head for the act led him to feel unappealing for women. To mask his insecurities, he ate and drank to excess and caroused whenever the Stooges made personal appearances, which was approximately 7 months out of the year. His weight increased in the 1940s, and his blood pressure became dangerously high. His wild lifestyle and constant drinking eventually copped him in 1945, and his performances suffered. Michael Fleming incorrectly stated in his book that after suffering a stroke, Moe felt it best that Curly take a leave of absence to recover, but Harry Cohn refused to allow it, forcing Curly to continue the already taxing work in his ill health. In reality, their Columbia schedule provided 5 months off from August 1945 to January 1946. Rather than rest, the trio committed themselves to making a feature film at Monogram, followed by a 2-month-long live appearance in New York City,